Osun State Government has sued the federal government at the Supreme Court over alleged unlawful seizure of statutory allocations for its 30 local government councils since March 2025. The suit, filed by Attorney General of Osun, challenges the Attorney General of the Federation for unconstitutionally withholding funds belonging to elected councils. Led by senior advocates Mike Ozekome and Musibau Adetumbi, Osun seeks an order compelling President Tinubu's administration to release the withheld allocations in line with subsisting court rulings. The state argues that both the Federal High Court and the Court of Appeal have allegedly affirmed the February 2025 council elections while nullifying the previous 2022 polls. Osun asked the Apex Courts to declare that the AGF lacks constitutional authority to suspend local government allocations or disregard valid judgments. The state also seeks a perpetual injunction against future seizures, stressing that the federal government's actions amount to an affront to the rule of law. No date has been fixed for hearing. I don't know, you've been following up the Osun State saga for a while now. I'm interested to know your position on this matter, the legal standpoint, by the way.
Yes, thank you very much. The seizures of Osun State local government funds, in my view, is unconstitutional. Very, very unconstitutional and ultraviates the powers of the Attorney General, as enshrined in Section 287 of the 1999 Constitution as amended. The Attorney General cannot cite or continue to cite local government crisis in withholding the local government funds. The Federal High Court have authenticated the local government election. That is section 287, particularly sub 3 of that section, talks about enforcement of judgments and all that. The AG, the law is very clear that judgments of Federal High Court is enforceable throughout Federal Republic of Nigeria and must be obeyed by all authorities and persons. The law never gave the Attorney General of the Federation powers to write the CBN to withhold any local government in Nigeria funds. Okay. And the Court of Appeal also have affirmed that election. And we can make allusion to the July 11 judgment of the Supreme Court on local government autonomy, where the Supreme Court emphatically stated that no local government in Nigeria operating under the guise of caretaker should be given funds. That it has to be a democratically elected local government. Now the state have gone ahead, conducted its election, swore these persons in. If there are contentions as to what transpired during the election, it is the question of the court. And now the court have taken a position. The first court have said, no, we certify the process credible and fit. The Apex Court, the Court of Appeal have said same. So the AG, looking at the provisions of the 1999 Constitution, in any way lack the constitutional powers to order the withholding of the local government fund. Even the president cannot do that under the laws of the land. Talking of the AG. So the powers, that power, in my own view, the AG have just overreached his powers. He has not only overreached his powers, he has abused his powers. He has used his powers arbitrarily to withhold the funds meant for the local people. Because the idea of local government, it's all about developing the third tier of the government. So why withholding the funds for a number of months? When you withhold the funds of the local people, you increase the hardship in that locality. You deny them of amenities. You deny civil servants working in the various local governments, they and their family, you deny them their salary, their stipends. So does the AG really think about the families of the null-gate persons in the various LGA? Does he really think about their health care? Does he really think about other ways of managing their families, which is very critical at this point, considering how, you know, the economy is, withholding people's salary for months? I mean, it truly ultraviates the constitutional
the traditional rulers. The traditional rulers has also called on the AGF and the federal government. In fact, they pleaded with the president for some level of understanding. And you know that the local government funds, they also get their funding through the local government funds as well. They also get their funding through the local government funds as well. And they have pleaded with the federal government to, you know, prevail upon the situation. And they are saying that it has become practically impossible for them to run, you know, their various kingdoms, if I may use that word, without funding which they receive from the federal government via the local government funds. So now, talking about the welfare of the people, talking about the traditional stool and the effect it has on them, and considering that Osun State, as a state, by the way, doesn't have that much of an IGR, right? So now, one would say, to a large extent, do you think that this autonomy, to a large extent, is favorable for the local government councils, as it were, considering what's playing out in Osun State? On the other hand, one would expect that with autonomy of local government councils should be able to also generate funds from within themselves and not depend holistically on funds that come from the federal government, as it were. What do you have to say to that?
Yes, thank you very much, Laurentia, for asking that pertinent question, because I know I can't truly, you know, fathom the reason why those whom are saddled with responsibility to managing our wealth, you know, keep using discretionary powers to deny us access to this wealth. Let me begin by the first question you asked about how well the autonomy have fared. In my view, and I think that is the reasoning of the Supreme Court in granting that autonomy, the autonomy gives the local government areas direct access to its funding. That is to say, the money comes complete, other than the previous time when it goes into a joint account controlled by the states. The money comes to the governors and the governors start giving conditions. You are loyal, you are not loyal, for money belonging to the local people. You see? So the autonomy, the intention of Supreme Court in granting that autonomy, if I borrow from their reasoning, is that more money will be released to the local people. Projects, welfare schemes, scholarship schemes, all that. Laurentia, the problem we have in this country is that those who do not have human feelings are at the helm of affairs. We find people whose only intention is to go in there and amass wealth, instead of giving leadership, instead of building communities, which is the true intention of the local government administration, is to build communities. But these guys go in there and build themselves. I can tell you for free, I have so many of them as friends. Before now, we know who they are. what is their source of income to have amassed so much wealth? You go to their various houses, what you can find in their places are tax-rated vehicles. You can't get any for less than 80 million. What's the salary of a local government chairman? I repeat again, what is the salary of a local government chairman? They go in there, they steal the monument for the people. Who says that a local government cannot do road construction? Considering the direct allocation now to the various LGAs, they can construct roads. They can even fund people on scholarships to get good education. Local government can, like, going to the second question you asked about the generating fund, the IGR. Each local government have its own internally generated funds. For example, let me use my own local government in Rivers State as a typical example, the Ikwere local government. The Ikwere LGA is rich in IGR. There are lots of projects ongoing, individuals developing their various lands. The LGA takes IGR in the form of building permits and all that. The airports in Ikwere local government pays stupendous money to the LGA in the name of IGR. There are other means of generating IGR by the local government. Now, it shouldn't stop at IGR. The question is, what do they do with this IGR? Do they reinvest it? They don't. They channel these funds to things that we cannot, things that can be seen or felt. You see a local government that receives over 900 million in a month, you can't find a good health care system. The workers are, it's nothing to write home about. Lorenza, the bottom line, the conclusion of this whole matter is that we find people who do not mean well for the people.
And probably the councillors who are the legislative body for the local governments probably, we should look. The thing is, most of these positions are compensatory. They are given out as compensation.
That's why
if
we have
who actually know their responsibilities and the weight of being a councillor should be on seats.
Lorenza,
they will play that oversight function.
Lorenza, we have advocated severally. Even this ongoing constitutional review is sent in a proposal for the review of the constitution demanding that INEC should henceforth conduct local government elections. The reason is this: we know, and we believe INEC is still battling with credibility issues.
But local government elections should be more transparent.
If you give the responsibility to INEC, local government election, even though will not be 100% credible,
will be more credible
than what we have. But what we have today is just selection, handpicking, just like the current process now. People were handpicked to fly this flag. It's not peculiar to Rivers State alone. It is a generic thing. Whether in Osun State, whether in Anambra State, whether in Lagos, whether in Kano, the practice is the same. The governors handpick these persons as a means of compensation for either helping them rig elections during their time or thereabout. But as to leadership, they don't give leadership.
Right.
They only go there, amass the wealth, share some with the governors, share some with the leaders in the various LGAs, and keep the remaining to themselves. I stand to be challenged.
All right, very well.